So last week, we did a little trial run for the I Know a Spot podcast, the new project brought to you by myself, where you and friends go on an adventure to somewhere pretty or nice or cool to sit at, and then you sit and you just have a chat. It's like campfire chats. And I will record them and upload them to the internet and call it I Know a Spot. So, what better place to film the first official I Know a Spot than 8,000 feet up in the air at Cucamonga Peak with this wicked, insane view behind us? So, what is this podcast? It's great, another guy with a podcast. Here we go. I don't really know, man. I just went on like a 6 mile hike. I don't have it all figured out yet, but I know that when I go on hikes with my friends or family, some of the best conversations are had on hikes. So, you know, why not capture some of those and make them viewable for future generations to come? Because I've told some funny stories on hikes, man. I've told some really good stories that, have never seen the light of day. A little bit about me. Born and raised West Hollywood, LA native, Angelino. Like I mentioned earlier in different videos, but I mentioned earlier in the YouTube video that accompanies this, that I don't have a lot of nature knowledge. I feel like a lot of the YouTubers I watch because they're so skilled and know nature so well. And I just don't. I'm just getting started. So I want to learn more as I go and explore this beautiful natural world that we have available to us. I also really like road trips. And if I could film videos of going on road trips, then my grandparents can see and my mom can see what I do on the road trips. So it's like a double win-win. So I've been doing that on the main channel. Speaking of podcasts, I listened to several on this hike. Solo hiking, it's just intimidating to me. Like, you're just alone huffing and puffing for several hours. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if I could handle it by myself. So I was like, you know what? Let's download a bunch of good music and let's download some podcasts. And I found that really helped. I listened to this awesome podcast by the Nature Channel about John Muir, legendary figure in environmentalism, if you're not aware. And his time, which I already knew some of the stuff because I read this collection of his diaries called My First Summer in the Sierra Nevadas. But basically, this dude comes to Yosemite when he's like 30, and he wants to experience it. I don't know. This guy comes to Yosemite when he's 30. He gets a job as a sheep herder. So he's a shepherd. And he gets $30 a month, and he gets a place to stay. And during that time, he brought these sheep all through the Yosemite Valley and Tuolumne Meadows and the high country. And he watched and he wrote about these sheep and the things he saw in Yosemite, which is one of the most beautiful places in the world, and he felt that way. And with all his writing, he felt that these places needed to be protected. So he eventually, after years of writing and stuff, gets buddy-buddy with Teddy Roosevelt, the main guy, and they're like, yo, John, this is Teddy speaking, John, I'm going to Yosemite. Can you be my guide or whatever? And he's like, yes, I'd love to do that. I would love to be your guide. Let me show you how important this place is. And they go, and they arrive, and Teddy Roosevelt just like is greeted by this, fancy banquet, all these people. And he's like, nah. I came here to get in the fucking woods with John Muir and see this shit the way it's meant to be seen. So that's what he does. He goes camping with John Muir, and he brings a couple friends with him. But that's how he sees it. And also, I'm paraphrasing a lot of stuff from this podcast I just listened to. But maybe this is the abridged version if you never listened to that podcast. So they're like, okay, dope. Yeah, nature's cool. We got to protect this shit. Um, and Teddy goes back to the government or whatever, and is like, yo, this place Yosemite's pretty nice. We should like probably protect it from development. And they're like, yeah, all right, that sounds cool. Until San Francisco catches a gnarly earthquake, destroying like 80% of San Francisco. These fires, there's no infrastructure for fires. San Francisco's burning down, earthquakes are happening, hell on earth. And they're like, fuck, man, we really need some water. Where can you get water? Well, one of the parts of Yosemite, Hetch Hetchy, was similar to Yosemite Valley, just a big valley with rivers and streams or whatever. And I don't know much about the science here, but basically they looked at that and said, if we put a dam right here, we can harvest all this water and we can use it for the city, and we'll be able to save lives and future fires and stuff. And John Muir hears this shit and he's like, what? You're gonna dam up this beautiful Hetch Hetchy Valley? And they're like, look, dude, we need water. Like, San Francisco just burnt down. We need to protect it somehow. He doesn't fuck with it. It splits America, right? Half the world or the people are like, dude, nature is cool. Let's protect it. No development. Fuck that. And the other half are like, it's basically the battle between environmentalism and conservationism. But they decide, you know what? Fuck the nature. We're going to build that dam. And they build the dam. And now Hetch Hetchy, which I've still never been in Yosemite, is filled with water instead of a big valley like it would be. And it's so weird to think about the fact that only 100 years ago or less than that, I don't know how long ago it was, it looked completely different. And I'll never get to see that. No one will ever get to see that again because there's a dam there. But were the needs of the dam to protect to get water and stuff, was that worth it? Is That's the debate, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I want to learn more about nature because it's super duper duper cool, and I also like history. I think because when I was hiking, I think I'd like listening to some hiking or some history podcasts while I'm hiking because I want to learn more shit, and I really enjoyed the way they talked about John Muir, and it was really cool. So yeah, that's the first segment of I Know a Spot podcast, episode 1. Ethan paraphrases another podcast about John Muir and tells you about it in short terms. Segment 2. I didn't even really talk about myself much earlier. I was going to introduce myself and stuff. I didn't get around to it. My name is Ethan. I grew up, my teenage years were spent throwing punk shows, and I had a big mohawk, and I spent a lot of time focusing on live music. And when I was 20, I moved from Long Beach back to LA to work at nightclubs with my family. And I'm a door guy. I'm a door guy at a nightclub, and I decide who gets to come in and who doesn't, and I charge people, and it's a kind of fun job, I guess. Pays okay, and I get a lot of free time to do that. It's a Monday. It's a Monday right now, and I'm just, you know what I mean? How many people are doing this on a Monday? And I'll tell you actually a lot, because I saw a lot of people walk by. But that's besides the point. I just had chicken and rice in a bag. Oh! Chicken rice in a bag with the half and half on top. Yeah, I just want to see the world, man. There's so much I want to see. There's so much beauty in this world, and so much to explore, and so much to learn about. And then, like, you have to have a job and exist and pay bills, you know? That takes up the time that should be dedicated to exploring fun shit. But I found a good balance, I think, and I'd like to think that others can find a good balance, and even find pride in your work, even if it's not, hiking up a mountain on a Monday. So yeah, the plan with this podcast, right? There's going to be segments. There'll be segments where I maybe talk about cool figures. I mean, I think the solo podcast versus the with someone podcast will kind of have a different dynamic. Because if I'm with the homies, we're talking about the homies, and we're talking about uh, our lives and the things we do on a day-to-day basis, and funny stories and the places we've been and the adventures we've gone on. And I can tell stories too. Let me tell you something about stories. Okay, I'll tell one story. Let's go take back COVID 2019. COVID's about to end, kind of, not really. I'm 19 years old. I'm like, man, I've been stuck at home for 8 months and I want to get out. And I've collected a lot of money in unemployment that I definitely didn't lie about. IRS, if you're watching, I definitely did work in a screen printing shop for more than one day. I did that, and that was my job, and that's why you guys gave me unemployment money. Anyway, um, I'm like, Mom, Dad, I'm moving out. And I moved into a house with a bunch of friends. And the first plan of action was we need to go on a road trip. Because I've been in a room and I need to see the world. So, try and steal a generator from Home Depot, get arrested, buy the generator a week later. Long story, I was a bad kid. Then I say, all right, guys. And I brought 4 of my friends, which means there's 5 of us, which means the car was crammed as fuck and it was super uncomfortable. And I said, guys, I'm bringing us to Utah to go to Zion. Oh, there's an animal right here. I've seen a lot of animals today. So many little squirrels. Anyway, so I said, I'm going to bring you guys to Utah. Oh, he's looking right at me. I wish you guys could see that. Oh, fuck. Where's my phone? I want to get a video of this. Man, he's gone. All right. I said, guys, we're going to Utah. We're hiking through the Narrows. We're going to Bryce Canyon. We're going to the Grand Canyon. We're doing it all. And they are not like hiker. They were not hiker people, and they were not expecting all of that. And they had an okay time. But the trip, many things went wrong. First being, one of my friends, who I'll not mention by name, was a drug dealer at the time, and he was living out of his car. So I guess at that point, you kind of just always have drugs on you, because, where are you going to put them? And I don't find this out until I'm getting pulled over for the second time after speeding. I was doing 10 over. Don't speed in a national park. They're on that shit. I get pulled over, and I was speeding, so whatever. My homie hops in the front. He drives for a while. This guy's driving. He's in a crop top, overalls, string hat, and he's got a tattoo of a marijuana leaf on his left shoulder. And he's there driving. Well, turns out he was speeding too. So we get pulled over. Officer walks up, he looks at his shoulder, smells the car, he says, hey man, how much weed is in this vehicle? Or do you have any weed in this vehicle? And my buddy was like, yeah, sir, yes, officer, we have a bit of weed. And I didn't even know this. I don't even smoke weed. Straight edge for life. You feel me? I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, I don't do nothing. But a lot of my friends did. So they go and pull us over, and while we're pulling to the side, he leans in the back and he's like, the drugs, what do I do about the drugs? I'm like, what do you mean? You have weed, you just told him, it's whatever. They're like, no, damn it, I'm talking about the cocaine, the ketamine, and the acid. And I'm like, what? Why do you have all those things for a 2-day road trip? And he's like, we'll figure it out later, but now we gotta get rid of these drugs. My homie grabs them, puts them under the gooch. We keep going. They search the car. They search us. They don't find the drugs. And we're sitting on the curb and we're wondering, like, how long in jail would you get for that amount of federally controlled substances in Utah with the Mormons, where they just don't give a fuck. And a long time, 15 years, long time. I don't want to go to jail. Anyway, we made it, whatever. Story gets way worse. We're driving, going to Bryce Canyon. I'm like, hey man, You got to get rid of these drugs because I do not want them in the car again when I get pulled over again for speeding because I'll probably speed again. So you got to get rid of them. Tommy just opens the bag, all the cocaine, all the ketamine, like a couple tabs of acid. I'm like, what are you doing? Anyway, that guy is the highest I've ever seen a human being in my life for the next like 6 hours. He's losing his mind in the backseat of my car, thinking he's becoming my car. He's like, it was a mess, right? And but then he lived, and we threw out the acid, fortunately, and we made it to the Grand Canyon, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. My first time seeing the Grand Canyon, and I'll never forget it. I don't talk to any of those people anymore. I, I just, but I'll never forget how crazy a trip that was. My first time in the Narrows in Zion, walking through waist deep water with a bunch of idiots. It was great. This is one of many, many travel stories I have. So maybe this will be a space where I can share my stories, I can document them, and they'll have a really sick background when I'm talking about them. And I can cut them into clips, and I can put them on the channel. I can be like, the Utah story. You know what I mean? Look, I don't have it all worked out yet. I've been very busy. I was sick for a couple days, pretty distracted. You know the problem is I don't want to edit these at all, right? Like I don't want to edit, I don't want cuts, I don't want anything. So every time I can't think of something to say, and I'm just sitting there like, I gotta just, you know. Podcasts are weird though, you know. Like what the fuck do people talk about? I want to get good at talking. I think communications is an important skill. Public speaking. This is kind of public. I mean, if anybody watches it, that is. I just can't get over the shit behind me though. I wonder what that is. I'm gonna look it up when I have signal. But I just my whole life, my mom and my aunt Deb, they told me, Ethan, you got to make videos because they knew all these influencers and YouTubers. I'm talking like 10 years ago, before it was even a big thing, like 15 years ago. They're like, Ethan, just make videos. You're funny or cool or whatever. You can tell stories. And I was like, yeah, all right. And I'm getting a late start, but I really like it. I really like making videos. And I've said this a million times, but I'm going to keep saying it. It encourages me to go do things that I wouldn't have done otherwise, right? So Monday, I was sick for a couple days. I'd probably just be at home asleep right now. But instead I was like, fuck, I gotta make a video for this Friday. So I was like, let's climb a mountain. Let's hike 12 miles. Fuck it. And it's been good. I'm really out of shape. That shit is tough. This thing was so cool. This is a cheat code. How did I not know about this? It all fits. Oh, my coffee is getting cold. Let's give it a taste. Should we taste it? Oh, my friend, that is liquid gold right there. Oh, my God. Oh, man, my grandfather, before he passed, he had a saying, living like kings and queens. Whenever we'd like go to a buffet, he'd be like, living like kings and queens. Sitting in a plastic chair on the beach, having a I wasn't having a beer, but having a beverage, living like kings and queens. That's really what it feels like right now, man. Drinking coffee, 8,000 feet in the sky. I feel like I'm living like a king. Yeah, my grandpa was cool, man. I wish my grandpa and my grandma were both very cool on my mom's side. I have a grandpa and grandma on my dad's side that are still alive, and they're both awesome as well. But grandma and pappy on my dad's side, my mom and pop up on my mom's side. They passed a couple years ago, and I think about how different my life is now versus what it was when I was a teenager, and the route I was going with my life and how it's shifted, and I just wish they could see all the cool stuff I've done since, I'm not crying. I have sunblock in my eye, and I don't want to rub it with my fingers, but it's like fucking stings. Ugh. Am I podcasting right? Do you think I'm doing this right? I gotta watch all this back. This is gonna be and I don't want to edit it, so it's really watching it back just to make sure I don't say anything stupid. But I think I want to go on more solo hikes because solo hiking with the nature or history podcast hits so good. So I'll try and run more of these. I'll try and alternate better. You know, one solo, one non-solo for the main channel. Let's try some more of this. I brought my tripod on this hike for this one shot. That's carried a bunch of extra weight just for this. So, hope you're enjoying it. I hope it's worth it. Oh, the stuff in my eye. But we'll get some more structure for next week, and we'll have a guest. So, I know Jacob wants to do it because the first episode, the real first episode, was filmed when Jacob and I went to Rose Valley Falls in Ojai, but the motherfucker pressed the time-lapse button, so it's just, and it's not even us talking, so we couldn't upload it. But this trial run with Andrea was cool. You know, I got some cool friends, man. I got European friends, I got Italian friends, I got Irish friends, I got all sorts of friends that have all sorts of fun stories, and I want to tell those stories in pretty places. And I just want to create more things. I think it's fun to make stuff, and this is me talking in front of a camera on a mountain. That is me making something. As silly and simple as it is, this is me creating something. This is me using creative energy, and I love that because I don't think I use it enough. You know, my friends are musicians and artists, and I'm just like a guy, and I want to have a creative outlet. So that's why I started making YouTube videos. I have no idea how long this has been. I feel like it could have been 45 minutes, but it also could have been 15. I don't really know. I want to drink some more of this coffee. There's rocks falling into my crotch. Basically, you know what? This is the last thing. I want to make the type of video you like put on your TV or your second monitor or your phone when you're driving, and just it's like a comforting presence. Because man, when I put on an Outdoor Boys video when I'm driving or when I'm at home eating dinner, it's a comforting presence, man. So that's what I want to do. I want to be an internet homie for people. If you made it this far, please leave a comment that says something. I don't know. You can say anything, but it'll just show that you made it to this instead of just clicking off immediately, which I'm sure most people did, because it's just a guy talking on a rock. And give me some. You know what? You don't have to. You can just leave a normal comment, but give me some ideas for what I should talk about, because I will study shit and make a full-on like book report style, video about things if I just learn about them. Because I really enjoyed this. I'm gonna keep drinking this coffee. I'm gonna listen to some music. I have Signal up here. I might FaceTime someone. I really like, especially on these solo hikes where I'm like kind of just being reminded that I'm by myself. I really like when I get Signal at the very top of the hike and I can call a friend. Just say, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. I did it. I'm alive. Yeah, man. All right. I Know a Spot Pod, episode 1, coming to an end. Thank you for watching. If you watched this without somehow knowing about the main channel, the main channel I have, it's just my name, Ethan Maguire-Stewart. And it's me going on hikes and road trips with my friends. This is sort of like a companion piece to that. So obviously I'm not going to put me talking for 30 minutes in a normal video. But, you get to the part of the video where I switch over to the podcast, and then you can go watch that, and then you can come back. But thanks for watching. I will see you next time. But I don't know where I'm going to go next, but somewhere cool for sure. And go on a hike yourself. Make that like your week's homework. Like, go on a easy hike. It doesn't have to be 12 miles up a mountain. Just like go for a walk. Go outside, like my shirt. Oh! Shout out Jessica, the bartender I work with. She gave me this shirt. She gives me the best gifts. She gave me a power bank. She gave me a hand warmer. And she's just nice like that. She just gives gifts. And so I've been wearing the shirt to remind everybody to go outside. Not that the people here need reminding. They're halfway up a fucking mountain. But let's cut it. I Know a Spot Podcast, episode 1. That's a wrap.